Hi, welcome back to Lovin Sheila, the podcast. It is a joy to be with you again today. Let's get right into it. I recently took a field trip to go see Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. And the reason I wanted to do this is because this was a book that I read back in my days at Monroe Junior High School in Inglewood. And it's by Judy Blume. And it was like all the rage at the time, like all the girls wanted to check this book out, and it was always like not available. So when you were able to get it, it was a great thing. It was quite a feat. And that's what I remember about it. I remember back then, we didn't buy books like, or at least in the hood, we didn't buy books like I did with my son, taking him to Barnes & Noble all the time. We just checked it out at the library. So when this movie came out, I was like, oh my gosh, I want to get in touch with my, little Sheila and go see this movie because it was a fun part of my childhood. So I told my mom that, and I picked her up and we went to see it. And I didn't recall really what the book was about. I just remember the famous scene, "We must increase our bus." But outside of that, I couldn't recall what the story was about. So we went to the movie, and I got to see it and revisit it, and I enjoyed it thoroughly. I feel like it was for tweeners and all, but I wanted, to escape reality and the adulting that we do on a daily basis and just go see this movie and go back to 12-year-old Sheila who enjoyed the book, and 50-year-old Sheila enjoyed the movie. And now I know, I'm always looking for the theme of something now, and I'm always looking for plots. So, with her, I guess the moral of the story was, she prayed throughout trying to find God. And of course, he didn't answer instantaneously like a lot of us expect him to. And in the end, some of the things that she had been praying for finally came to pass. And so then she's kind of like, okay, God. And so what I thought was, okay, it's just, the lesson is just to be patient. It may not come necessarily when you want it, but it's in due time. And so that was the message with Margaret. But I looked for a bigger theme or like a subplot, and the movie took her to a different state, actually, and she had to restart. And so the mother also had to restart. She had been working in the city, and now she decides that they're going to move away. Husband gets a new job, and she's going to stay home and be a stay-home mom and get involved in her daughter's school activities and do some decorating and just do all the things that maybe she didn't have time for previously, but now since she's not working, she can do it. So she's just jumping into the suburban mom lifestyle. And so, she goes to the school and she volunteers to be on every committee possible, pretty much. She gets rid of her furniture and she's going to buy new furniture. And, she's doing all these things. And this is what we think the moms in the suburb do. They don't work, and they can volunteer, and they can be homemakers and learn how to cook and all these things. And I understand that because, I was a suburban mom, and I would be at the soccer practices, and I realized I'm the only mom who has a job. You know what I'm saying? I often fantasized about what it would be like not to work outside of the home and just concentrate on my son. But fortunately, I had a job that was flexible, and it allowed me to do a lot of things for him. But anyway, I digressed for a moment. And so basically, she went through that, and she did it, and she was having trouble with the decorating. Her house was pretty much empty. And I could relate to that because when we moved into both of our houses, I took my time to decorate and to find the right piece because I'd rather have what I really wanted than just have something filling up the space. And so that was an area where I was able to be patient. So she was just feeling pressure because when people came over, there's no furniture or whatever the case may be. So it doesn't look good when you're the suburban mom and you can't even furnish your house. But nonetheless, she continued and she volunteered and she did a great job at the things that she was doing. And then it came time to re-up for the next year when they're asking her to volunteer for things. And over this year, what she learned is, I don't think that she really enjoyed it. She had gone into the cookie cutter role of what a suburban mom is. They don't work, and they take care of the home, and they volunteer at the school. But I think she found in the process that that doesn't work for her. That's not what she wants to do. So in the end, you find that she goes back to work. You know, they ask her to re-up for the middle school to volunteer for all these different committees. And she happily said, no, I don't want to. And so it took her a year to settle in, you know, because I think a lot of times we just, okay, this is what's expected, and that's what we're going to do, and we're going to do it great, and we're going to jump right in. And then you realize I'm in it, but this is not what I like. And actually, maybe my former life, the life in the city with my job and all that, I enjoyed it. And so when she was asked to re-up, she said no, happily. And she's like, and thanks for asking or whatever, but she was comfortable saying no and comfortable doing what she wanted to do. And so that was what my takeaway from the film, just seeing the mom and seeing her, you know, evolve and try to adjust and figure out what's right for her. And thankfully she did. And she started to do her thing within her family. And she basically had some boundaries. She wasn't going to spend all her time working for the school and doing all these things. So that's what I took away from Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. A lot of different things, but mostly that it took me back to the 1980s. What was it, 1982, when I was reading that book and just enjoying life and being a kid and dealing with the trivial things that a 12-year-old, 11-year-old has to deal with. So thank you for making that movie. Judy Blume, it's always good to engage with her because, you know, she's definitely a part of my childhood. So, yeah, that was, it was great. It was just a nice little venture back to my childhood. And the next journey I'm going to take is a trip to the Chi. I'm going to Chicago, actually, tomorrow to see a loved one. And I'm just looking forward to the time there, to the escape. I'm just going to really vacate again and try and free my mind and leave everything here in LA, and go there and enjoy my time with my son, not knowing when we'll be back in Chicago again, just taking everything it has. And we're going to go to the Art Institute. We haven't been there yet. And hopefully I will be inspired. Hopefully I can come back and share some things with you. You know, I'm looking for inspiration everywhere, and I'm really trying to tune in and curate a life filled with artistic and innovative and new experiences, and just really be open-minded and to appreciate the different aspects of art, because I feel like, you know, I really haven't in my life. I think I've really focused on being practical, and I've really not been in touch with my creative. So it's really nice to be at a point where you're just feeling, you're looking for inspiration in the world. And so I'm hoping that we get that in Chicago on our trip. You know, just like with Margaret, my trip to Chicago, and even Dr. Cloud, and this podcast, and, you know, it's given me time to smell the roses, to enjoy life, to see life through a fresh lens, through a different lens, through an open-minded lens. And it's really refreshing, and it's very enlightening, and it's fun. It's challenging, but it's fun because, you know, I remember last time I was in Chicago, we went to the Writers Museum, and I was inspired, and I was saying, my God, I was saying to my son, I said, you're set in such a great period in time where you can immerse yourself, you can just learn as much as you want, you know, whereas I'm limited in my time because I have work to do and things that are established. There's things that require me, you know, to focus on it, but, you know, your time is really focused on learning, and that's exciting. I wish that when I was that age, I thought of it like that, you know. So that's where I can appreciate. That's why I'm inspired by all of these things, and I'm interested to see where where this journey is taking me. It's I can't even think of a word. It's exciting, it's invigorating, it's scary at times, but it's well worth it. I have to believe that. I'm looking for the small things that enhance my world. It doesn't have to be huge. It's just the little things that bring more enjoyment and enhance my world. Recognizing the things that don't work for me and adding some things that do work, and even down to the small things like evaluating everything. Like since I've been doing the podcast and I feel like I'm a little more visible, like okay, maybe a little more of the aesthetic is necessary. So I was doing my nails and I was getting gel, so I would always have color. And one thing that I noticed was that my nails were breaking, cracking, and all this craziness, and they were, at the end they were covered up with this aesthetic of color that gives the illusion of beauty. However, they were really broken and really unhealthy. And so I decided we're going to go get our manicure. We're not putting any gel. We're not even putting any color on there. We're going to get it healthy. We're going to stop all that, processing, and we're going to get healthy. So it was the same thing that I was experiencing with my hair, and I'm still working on that. But now it's like my nails. It's just like we're just peeling back every layer of this onion. And yes, it's making us, cry at times. It's making us feel like, what the heck? I told my friend the other day, I was like, I'll be darned. It's like, it's just always something new. Like just when you think you've got to the tip of the iceberg, there's more. And so anyway, so now I'm like, okay, I'm going to wear my little ugly nails that are all broken and cracked everywhere. And I'm just going to endure that ugly process until they get healthy, it won't take long, I'm sure, a couple months or whatever, but that's where I am in life, evaluating the beauty, looking for inspirations, cutting off things that are not valuable, and going through the process, of enduring the things that may not be aesthetically pleasing to get to the better place. And so it starts with everything. It's unavoidable is what I'm learning. It's, if you're really trying to do it, it's holistic. That's why I said the top of your head to the sole of your feet. Every little thing. I'm working on the mind with the therapist. I'm working on my nails with just, giving them a break. Hair with vitamins and different things, different products and so forth. Trying and having to eat better and take better care of myself and evaluate my stress levels. It's like, so there's so many like internal jobs that I have to do. But most importantly, what I know is I'm worth it. I'm worth the work. It's not for anybody. It's not for anybody but me. Nobody cares what my hair looks like. Nobody cares what my nails look like. Nobody cares what my skin looks like. But I care. It's all for me. And so I'm just going through the process, loving me and loving every aspect of me. Just like God knows the number of hairs on my head, I want to love the number of hairs on my head and the, every little part about me. And I want to care for it, not just say I love it, but love is an action. And so if I love myself, I'm actively caring for me. Okay, so that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to actively care for every aspect of my person. And so that's part of this Lovin Sheila journey. And so recently got Hulu, and so I was on just trying to find, can I watch, what might I stumble across. And I saw a show called Unprisoned, and it's with Kerry Washington and Delroy Lindo. And I thought, okay, why not? I'll watch this. Figure it's about a guy getting out of jail and the challenges that he has, as he's being reintroduced to society. And so that's what I thought it was. And so I find out that her character, Paige, is a marriage and family therapist. And she's dealing with abandonment. Her dad has pretty much been in jail all her life, and she was raised by other people, so she's obviously got some resentment toward him. And so, yeah, I thought that would be the gist of the show. So I'm watching it, and she kind of narrates it. She starts off in the first episode, and she talks about repetition compulsion. And so I guess the first episode was dealing with that. And what that is when we essentially reenact childhood traumas. It's just things that happened to us as a child. We continue to perpetuate those things, so they continue to happen. And so that was what the theme of that particular show was. And interestingly, I've talked to you about Little Sheila and doing what Little Sheila wants. In this show, there's a version of Carrie's character, Paige, that's a child. She looks like she's about 10 years old. And she's expressing her needs, or she's crying out, or she's expressing the exasperation that the character feels. So it's interesting to see this played out, because that's what I'm thinking. Like, I have to be in touch with little Sheila, just knowing what Sheila wants and responding to her needs. And though it might seem asinine, in the show it even says everything comes from our childhood. And I absolutely believe that. I absolutely believe that. And so whether it be good, bad, indifferent, it's just the way we manage things comes with the way we were raised and the environment we were brought up in. And so, she was brought up feeling abandoned. And so she's dealing with those things, and she has things put in place, I guess, to protect her, rigid things to protect her. And that, again, I can relate, because there are things that are I've put up in my life to so-called protect me. Unfortunately, I don't know if they protected me, but I think they really desensitized me or anesthetized me, as I mentioned previously. But, we don't know. We just do what we feel we have to do to survive. And, so she's doing what she has to do to survive. And then she talks about attachment styles. And I was taking notes, and she went over some, and one of them was avoidance attachment. And I felt like that was me. So yes, I'm diagnosing myself within a television show. And that's just really when you choose not to have emotions or emotionally attached to things, or disconnect from your emotions. And I felt like, yeah, I'm guilty as charged. And so, and I shouldn't say guilty, because we're trying to get away from feeling guilt and shame and things like that. But that has been an issue for me. But I don't think that is healthy. I think we should be in touch with our emotions. So again, as I extract, as I excavate this whole thing, I'm like, let's bring that to the surface, because we're going to deal with everything. This is not going to be a superficial journey. This is going to be a journey where you just take it all up. And I think about when I go and get a facial, the most important part for me in that facial is the extractions. Like, dig out that stuff that I don't need in there. I'm not trying to apply, makeup or moisturizer on top of the blackheads and the whatever seafoam that's in there. Get that stuff out. I'm not trying to beautify it over. I'm trying to clean it out and beautify. And so likewise in life, I'm not trying to make it beautiful on the outside. I'm trying to clean it up and make it beautiful on the inside and out. So with that comes some extractions. With that comes some revelation of some things that I don't like, things that I wish were not my story, but they happen to be. And so let's take that with us, and let's deal with it so we can address it and heal, and do the work on that. So that's how I feel about the avoidance attachment style. So I'm in here. She's got a teenage son. I'm feeling a sense of community. I'm relating. I'm identifying with her. She's got a social media presence where she's talking about these things kind of like I'm talking about it. So I'm really identifying with her, and I'm appreciating the vulnerability. And I guess not the vulnerability that she is displaying, but just knowing that there are other women who are having some of the same struggles that I do. and that it's not uncommon. And that's why I do this, because, you know, it won't be for everyone, but there are some women who are feeling the way that I have felt and are ready to address it, to expose it, because that's what I'm doing. It's like an expose. Like, I'm exposing, that I have some challenges internally that I need to deal with. It's not, I don't feel like they're external. I feel like they're internal. They all start here with me, and just with the lack of loving me properly in the way that I should. And so that's why I'm enjoying this Unprisoned. And what I found is that it wasn't what I thought it was. It wasn't that this man is, reintroduced to society outside of the penitentiary and he's being unprisoned. And it's really about her and her mind and the things that are going on in her inner child, and letting it out, and not just conforming to what, this dignified woman should be and how she should behave, but actually letting some things penetrate her heart and maybe change a few things and become unprisoned and have better relationships, and she's got the book smart, she's got the degree, she's the marriage and family therapist, but her dad has this street smart, and he's breaking some things down to her in new ways, and it's kind of accurate. So it's kind of showing that you got to have a little street smart as well as that book smart, book smarts in order to develop. So this might be one of my shows. I might really start to enjoy it. I'm not that far into it. That was the first episode. We'll see where it goes from there, but I just kind of like the idea of unprisoned, and I like the pun of it all to show that we can be prisoners in our mind just through kind of stinking thinking, so I'm here for it. I like where it's going thus far, and we'll see what happens next. And in conjunction with doing that, I'm still doing my Dr. Cloud, and right now we are working on codependence. Okay, yeah. And so codependence, as it's been described to me, is pretty much when you feel the need to take responsibility for someone else. And so instead of recognizing that they're responsible for their feelings, whatever going on, you want to control it and you want to help it, and so that's codependence. And so we've been talking about that. And one of the big issues with codependence is you want to be free. You want to be free from that responsibility. Imagine being responsible for yourself and others. I'm not talking about financial responsibility. I'm talking about emotional responsibility. So that's where codependence comes in. And again, it's another one of those ugly issues that Dr. Cloud is talking about in protecting yourself from toxic people that, I don't like it, but if I'm being honest, I'm sure I've had some areas of codependence. So I had to delve into this and okay, what's up? What we gonna do, Dr. Cloud? And and so the question that he posed in this section was, who are you? Who are you? What do you care about? And I recall, a few years ago, I met a new friend, and we called each other pal. And initially, I think it was about 5 years ago, she said, "What's your thing?" And I'm like, "What's my thing?" I said something. I don't know what I said. I don't know. I didn't say much because to this day, I probably can't say, what's my thing. But basically, I think that was, who are you? Tell me about yourself. Because it's always, oh yeah, my son, my husband, my job, my this, whatever. But it's like, but what about you? What do you? And then I struggle. From there, I struggle. So I think Pal might be evolved, because that was like a part of our initial conversation when we were getting to know each other. And from there, she said some good things to me, things that challenged me. And I guess it's good to have friends who challenge you and to challenge your thought processes and to dig deep, But anyway, so I love Pal. I haven't talked to her in a minute, but I just recall, as I was talking,
her asking me that. And it all goes back to this. So who are you? What do you care about? And I noticed that a lot of my who are yous revolve around people and my role in their life. I am a wife. I am a mother. I am a daughter. I am a sister. But who am I? What makes me? What makes me tick? What do I care about? What drives me to get up in the morning? Why do I do it all? Who am I? What can I live without? What part of me, I guess, is like essential, defines me? And these are things I haven't really thought about in any detail. And so that was not a question I felt comfortable to answer, to be clear about. And so I thought I recall, and when I saw Best Man, 25 years ago, there was a quote when Merch and Candy met, and it was something like, I'll actually have my producers put it up here for you. I'm going to butcher it real quick, but it was like, if you don't define yourself for yourself, then you will be crushed into something like being whatever one wants you to be and eaten alive. Now, that is not verbatim, and we have it here. It's by Old Lore. And so I thought about that. And Dr. Cloud said it too. If you don't know who you are, then people are going to help you determine who you are and tell you who you are, what you should be doing. You'll be put into a vacuum where they just, tell you, instruct you on who you are, what you should care about, what you should be doing. So you have to define it for yourself. Okay? And so, when I heard that quote 25 years ago, whatever it was, it didn't mean much to me. It didn't resonate. But having lived a little bit more and having more relationships, I realized how significant and how true it is. And if you don't define yourself, you will be eaten alive and you will be screaming and fighting to be heard. And oftentimes, nowadays we hear people say, I don't feel seen or I don't feel heard. And they're, possibly because we're not defining ourselves. And it's hard to be heard when you're not really saying anything. And maybe I'm putting too much responsibility on us, but I'm just saying, so it has to be clearly defined who you are. And so people can see you. They may still try to gloss over it, but if you have it clearly defined, you're not gonna let them make you who they want you to be. You will be who you are. And, I even had that experience in parenting. There's some things that, I happen to have, I think, a very gifted son with a lot of different talents. And there's some areas I wanted him to explore that he wasn't as interested in. And there became a time where I had to realize he's his own individual. And he should live his life the way he wants to live it and pursue his dreams and not my dreams for him. And so that's just a revelation. You have to define yourself for yourself, or you will be crushed and eaten alive, and you'll be living someone else's life, okay? Or you'll be feeling, like I said, detached, like everything is going on around you and you're not really playing an active role. So this just came illuminated to me in this last week when I was doing the codependent study. And then it took me to the Shakespeare, to thine own self be true. And it's absolutely true. I mean, you must know yourself and be true to whatever that is, whatever it is. And so I'm on a journey. Now I know, I need to clearly define who I am and what's my thing. And once I know that, then pursue the path that's right for me. So I'm going to work at defining that. And Dr. Cloud mentioned that the self is pretty much your mind, your soul, and your heart. Okay, well, we already talked about my heart and soul not quite being aligned. And when you put the mind in there, boy, oh boy, boy, it's like a spirals. So definitely want to work on aligning those and getting them under control and understanding who I am and developing it. Once I understand that, develop it. Like, I've often heard the term self-development. But how can you develop the self when you don't know who you are. So first and foremost, I want to define what it is, who I am, what I'm about, what I care for, what makes me me, what makes me Sheila unique. I've often said, like, I don't want to be a robot. Even in the course of employment, it's like I don't want them to make me a little robot to do exactly. I want to do it what I'm supposed to do, but I want to do it with Sheila in mind, like do it my way. I think we can get to the same result, but I don't want to function like a robot. And I think I professionally have resisted more than I have personally. So I think I've done a really good job professionally. Now I need to incorporate it personally. And so that's where, the self-development is coming in for me. So I'm going to work on that. I'm going to identify. It's going to be a journey. Maybe I'll write something down daily, about what I learn about myself. It's so funny because I will say this. I just realized after all these years, and I've done it for years, but I just realized I really love tacos. I probably could eat them several times a week. I knew I liked them. I really did. I knew I liked them. But I just was like, I just kind of got that. I really like them. So and it bothered me because I'm like, why did it take me all these years to realize that? I mean, it's no big deal, but why didn't I understand that? Why not just like, one thing I love is never something I claim. So that's just a sidebar. It's just bizarre to me. But anyway, I guess it depends on where you are in your life. I'm now in a place where those quotes actually mean something. I've lived a little life, and they have more impact on me. At the time, maybe I thought merch and candy were just being corny, but maybe I realized they were trying to go somewhere. Maybe they had been. Well, they're not real people, but maybe. But bottom line, you just have to identify yourself and not let others do it for you. And some people catch on to that earlier than others, and more power to those people. So I want to encourage you to embody that quote and reach for your best self, because how can you live, as they say, your best life, or I say be your best version of yourself, if you don't know who you are? How can you do that? So we can't be our best version. I can't be my best version of Sheila unless I know who Sheila is, and then I can, enhance her value. Okay, so that's what I'm thinking of. That's where I am with this, and I hope you all see it's not rocket science. It's nothing new. It's just bringing in all these different resources to evaluate where we are in life and to make the adjustments where necessary. So I guess what I can say is know yourself. Okay, identify it for yourself. What do I care about? Dig in deep. All these help you to be whole. And what we're looking for in our healing and our process and doing the work is to be whole, not to be broken. I shared with you a couple episodes ago, I had to admit to myself I'm broken. And I didn't like it. And everything in my life wasn't broken. But there are areas where I was broken. And so now I'm working on the process of healing. And when I heal, the objective is to get to a place where I feel whole, where I won't be saying I'm broken, and so that's where I am. So the path, the goal is for wholeness. And how can I be whole if I don't even know who I am, what the parts are that complete me? So, that's part of our wellness journey. I'm realizing that all these things affect me, how I feel, maybe it's, my hair, my nails, whatever. I don't know, relationships, physical ability, all these different things, but they all affect how I feel, bank account, whatever it is, they do. It's a whole approach to my happiness and my wholeness and my wellness and my peace. And so that all goes together. I can't skip one thing And I can't change the world. I can't change my loved ones, but I can change me. Okay? I can be my best me. I can love myself. I can do the work. And hopefully it impacts others. And it enhances our relationships. Brings life to our relationships, brings more love, brings more joy. But I can't have that without first being happy and good with me. And that's what this Lovin Sheila the podcast is all about. It's Lovin Sheila and trying to dig deep and doing the work and excavating and extracting and not just massaging and placating and covering up, but going beneath the surface and dealing with what is real, and not being shy and not wanting to call a spade, and being real and honestly digging deep and getting to the heart of the matter so that we can change things, that we can make ourselves better and improve our life and our feelings. And that's what it's all about. And I think I have more to say on this, so there might be a part 2. But for now, this is all. I won't keep you forever. I thank you for watching. I thank you for going to Lone Wolf Bodywear and getting your Lovin' Me shirt for $10. Don't forget, podcast or Lovin Sheila is the promo code. Go get it. Make the affirmation. I'm not going to belabor that. But thank you for watching. Thank you for being with me. Don't forget to take care of yourself. Love yourself. Stay the course. It might get ugly from time to time. You might not, the process is certainly a journey, and there are going to be ups and there's going to be downs and there's going to be good days and bad days. But stay the course. You're on your way to a better life and loving yourself. You're on your way to curating the life that you want. All right? So I'll see you next time on Lovin Sheila, the podcast. God bless.